after growth and innovation. That's about it for me. Now, I'm just going to get you all to put your hand up for a minute. Okay. Now, the question I want to ask you is, put your hand up if what you study is what you work in right now. That's good. That's a good number. It's normally about 50%. Okay, it's a good little interaction piece, and the reason I asked that question is because so much of what we do these days is not what we particularly studied for, right? And often, particularly as we become more senior, the skills that we need are not the skills that we necessarily studied for. Unless, of course, you're a surgeon in a very specific field, it's unlikely that you're using the same skills. I probably feel like I should have studied politics rather than what I did study, right? Some days. The future of work is complicated. We know this, and this is something that we hope to open up a little bit in the discussion tonight. No, these are not the right slides. Okay. Just going to go out of this. Can I just unplug this? Okay, not the right ones. Okay. So we've got 3 speakers this evening. Could you just take it off my screen? We've got 3 speakers this evening, and I'd love to introduce them for you all. We're also going to make this an interactive session where we're going to have an open Q&A. There are no pre-prepared questions. It's my job as a moderator to weave questions live from the audience into the conversation to each of our speakers. And I'm going to give each of our speakers around 5 to 10 minutes to give us a little bit of context about where they come from, why they are here tonight, what they're here to talk about, so that you know who to ask what and what to ask. So firstly, we've got Marco Mamoyne. Marco is Head of Innovation for ASEAN at Microsoft. I've worked with Marco for a long time at my previous employer. Brilliant mind, nerd just like me, and also an expert on AI. So if you want to take a seat, and I'll hand over the microphone in a second.
Thanks.
We've also got Anna Milani. Anna is the founder and CEO of Sparked. Sparked is a brain-body gym. This was founded in Singapore. And it's not just any gym, obviously by the name, but brain and body. She has picked the best of cognitive exercises and physical exercises to work with the brain as people go through cognitive decline, which happens after the age of 30. Shh.
Keep it down.
That's not a drink, okay? Allegedly, I'm over 30. Okay, and then our final speaker, Nav Kirti. Now, Nav is the founder of a company called Ideactio. They specialise in service design in Singapore. He's worked with some of the most interesting companies in Asia Pacific, looking at their customer experience and how services come together to deliver that in the best way. But more recently, Nav has been exploring this whole idea around the future of work and meta skills or future skills. So lovely to have you, Nav.
Thank you.
We're going to start with you, Marco. If you want to give us a quick intro about what you
I can do that.
what you want to talk about tonight.
Yeah, I can do that. Good evening, everyone. Nice to see so many people sticking around after work for an awesome event. So I guess a little bit about myself and where I'm from. I did write some notes because I tend to ramble and I know that I've got a time limit, so I'll just keep it a little bit more structured, hopefully. First of all, maybe if it's possible, some people that are standing, maybe you can come and sit down. There's plenty of seats here. It feels weird to talk to a room of half-sitting people, half-standing people. So it would be cool to have some people in the front row to interrogate us panelists. So my name's Marco. I am currently the head of innovation for ASEAN, for Microsoft ASEAN. I guess my journey is an interesting one, given Emmy Lou's question where we had our hands up of like, is the thing you studied the thing that you do now? So first of all, the thing that I studied is actually industrial design, and that was an embarrassingly long time ago. So again, linking to that cognitive decline after 30 thing. So actually what I realized while studying that, and in the subsequent roles that I had in software engineering, hardware engineering, I was sleeping in data centers for a while. I've kind of held a variety of different technical and leadership roles across like large organizations. And what I realized that industrial design gave me, or why I did industrial design to begin with, was that I actually have a passion for the human part of interaction with technology, with objects, with things. And I've always been fascinated by finding the most optimal way for, the most optimal pathway for a human to accomplish something with a tool. I've always been obsessed with objects, with tools, with things that do other things or things that enable us to do things. Those who know me will know that I'm obsessed with cases. I love boxes that hold things. But I'm rambling. I should get back to my notes.
I was going to say, guys, this is a safe space.
Sorry, thanks. So my role at Microsoft is head of innovation. Essentially what we have is a team of amazing engineers and architects who are kind of at the intersection between technology consulting, technology evangelism, and sort of deep technical engineering. And what we do is we work with Microsoft's top 100, top 200 customers who each have organizational transformation issues, often involving technology, where they will interact with us in the sense of, hey, we know what we want to do, or we think we know what we want to do in terms of solving a problem, but we're not sure how to do it. And what my team is there to do is help them align around the objective that they're trying to achieve, so figure out what that roadmap and strategy is. Get to a point where we're very opinionated about what a solution might look like from a technology landscape perspective. And that's not Microsoft exclusive, by the way. That's kind of, this is what a solution looks like. And then get to a point of technical proof, so prove our opinions. And that's all done through a series of really high energy, interactive, collaborative, hands-on sessions. We call them engagements, but it's very much having people in the room, having these live conversations, really trying to align people around where to go, and then helping them take the steps themselves to get there. So, there's all of these industry words that you'll hear around design thinking and group genius and all of these sorts of things. So it's all of those different types of tenets mashed into one. But what it really allows me to do, and where my passion sort of comes into play, is it really allows me to get to a point with larger organizations where you feel like you can gather the whole organization up into a single thread, into a single conversation. And the really beautiful part of it is kind of uncovering what is the sort of golden thread that organization is trying to pull on to really achieve the goals that they're trying to achieve. And so over the last 3 or so years that I've been in Microsoft, and the prior 6 or so years that I was with PwC, I've been lucky enough to see quite a few, I would say, paradigm shifts in the technology space. Recently we've been talking, everyone in the room most likely has been using some form of generative AI in their day-to-day life. I mean, by quick show of hands, who's using ChatGPT or Copilot or something in their day-to-day lives? Some kind of generative AI, like everyone's got their hands up. And I've actually been able to see and sort of blessed to see the rise of this type of technology as a tool for human improvement, for organizational improvement, for humans to actually take that next step in, I guess, our evolution. I don't want to get too philosophical with it, but I guess we're all more or less attached to our smartphones all of the time. Like, I'm way smarter holding this thing than I am not. Like, I can answer any question in the world, I can do any maths, I can do literally anything holding this thing. But if you detach me from my phone, I'm suddenly way less smart. So think about the future where there is, I guess, a next step version of that. What does it look like when the limitations of having to type a question into your phone to get an answer, and it just goes away in place of potentially thinking about what you want to do. These kinds of things are what really keeps me excited and passionate about work. And I guess the larger trends that I've seen driving organizations and the sort of skills that we're seeing emerging gives me a lot of hope for the future of humanity as we continue to bond with this new AI. If these AI these models, agents, assistants, whatever you want to call them, if they achieve higher and higher levels of intelligence, I believe that is simply a tool for us to be able to do things better, faster, smarter, more efficiently, be able to abstract away the things that we don't necessarily want to spend our time on, or is not necessarily valuable for a human being to be spending their time on, and then to be able to focus on things that make more sense. And so with Microsoft, it's been a really amazing journey because I've been able to sort of touch and feel and see so many transformations in organizations and sort of identify those larger themes that are happening there and see our team kind of help to steer that ship in a kind of very large sense. But it's also been, I guess, humbling because there is still so much work to do. There are still so many conversations to have. I often make the joke that it doesn't matter which direction I orient myself in. I was telling my boss this the other day. It doesn't matter which direction I choose to invest my time in. There is always going to be an infinite number of tasks, an infinite number of conversations to have. And I believe my part of that really is trying to, I guess, preserve the beauty of the human interaction part of this conversation. I don't want to give it all away to the machines. I don't think we will. But from time to time, you do hear from organizations who are saying, okay, well, where's the ROI? You always get the smart guy in the room who sits back and goes, look, you want us to spend $1 million a month on AI? Where are we going to get that? Where are we going to get that money back from? Do we just cut people? And that's a real question. What happens when organizations start investing all this money in AI? How do they see that money come back to them? And I will explore answers to that if anyone wants to ask, given the nature of this conversation. So yeah, hopefully that's given a little bit of introduction into me, to myself, what I do, what I care about. I'd love to hear anything. I'm essentially an open book. Not everything that I say will represent what Microsoft says. I'll give you a big asterisk there, and I will disclaim it if I'm going to say something that's kind of way off track from Microsoft. But I generally, I guess we generally have commensurate views on a lot of things, so not in too much danger of that. So with that, I'll hand over, and nice to meet you all, and looking forward to some awesome questions.
Thanks, Sandro. Human after all, and if you are thinking about getting Marco a gift, boxes is what he...
Cases.
Cases.
Yeah, I love cases.
Boxes with clips on them.
Yeah. Correct.
Over to you, Anna.
Yeah, hi. Anna Milani. I'm originally Italian, Finnish Italian, and I've lived in Singapore for now 12 years. I'm the founder of a gym called Sparked, which is the first brain-body fitness concept gym in Singapore and Asia. Pretty much globally. I know it sounds a bit arrogant to say, but actually it's the truth. And reason being is because to even start earlier, my background is in contemporary dance, so kind of different. Still movement. I love movement. I've always loved moving, and I never can stay still. But I trained as a trainer, I worked as a trainer for many, many years, and when I came to Singapore, I discovered neuroscience. And what I was doing all the physical activity, exercise to look good, as most people would do. Most people still train because they want to have muscles, a six-pack, and so on. So, which is a great goal to have in mind when you train. But personally, when I was close to turning 40, and after I had 3 kids, I also started thinking about brain health and mental health. I thought, well, yes, I still want to look good in my 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, etc. But I also want to remember my kids' names. I want to continue to be active cognitively and have a purposeful job until who knows when. So this is what started going in my head. And that's when I did a lot of research and I looked at who was doing the type of training that we do at the gym I founded, which is specifically called cognitive motor training or dual task, which means essentially doing a physical task and a cognitive task. And some of the audience here tonight have tried it actually, very enthusiastic bunch of people, so thank you. What that does, it helps with neuroplasticity. So as we start turning 30, neuroplasticity and physical decline starts happening. It may show just 20 years later, it doesn't show necessarily straight away. But yeah, decline starts happening. Okay, sorry guys, a bit depressing. Have a drink to forget. My inspiration was to essentially be limitless, okay, in my life and in life and at work. I love what I do and I want to keep doing it for as long as possible. Personally, I also have a history of Alzheimer's in my family. I lost my granddad to Alzheimer's, so I saw what that meant to my family and to himself, of course. He lost his identity, which was very, very upsetting. Anyway, it's not a sad story, okay? There's no tears, okay? But what then came out of it, it was the hope that actually there's something we can do to slow physical decline and cognitive decline. And that's exactly doing brain health training, brain body training, and cognitive motor training. So 4 years ago, when I was looking at the whole market and who was doing this type of training, essentially it was done in brain health centers, neurorehabilitation centers, but also it was done by elite top athletes, very, very high performance, F1 drivers, soccer player, football player, basketball, hockey, and tennis players. And then I sat back and I thought, but hang on a minute, what about the rest of us? What about general population? I don't want to get a decline. I want to think of myself as an elite athlete. So why can't I train this way? And so this is where I conceptualized and visualized my gym. And so we've been doing that for the past 3 years. And I still remember during COVID times, on a lot of webinars and so on, I was talking to a lot of corporates, doing a lot of presentations. And actually I remember how they were going, oh wow, your training looks amazing, corporates really, really would benefit from it. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I guess I haven't thought about it. And then the concept of the corporate athlete started coming about. But the point of it is that then I started thinking, wow, how do I bring this training to corporates? And this was probably 3 years ago now. And here we are today, opening the first four-man studio in a corporate. So yeah, it's actually a big day for me, guys. I'm very happy. Gotta bet some achievements sometimes. And yeah, super excited to be really impacting corporates, but not just corporates for work, actually for your lives, really, because we work, most of us work to live, I hope, I mean. Yeah.
Hopefully not living to work, right?
Yeah. A bit of both.
And we've got a short video that we're going to show as well. And for those of you, if you want to stick around, you can actually come and check out our Brain Body Gym upstairs. And there are a few of you who have done the Brain Body session this afternoon. I will spot you because you'll probably be falling asleep. But wake up! We've got lots to present. So we're just going to show you a quick video. If you notice that I'm on my phone, it is for a reason. So shortly you will see a QR code pop up on the screen, which will be for you to start asking questions of the panelists, and we will start the discussion. It's not going to be a long one. There is networking a little bit later, but I really want your questions for each of our panelists once you learn who they are. Now I'm going to get out of the way. There are lots of stuff. Wait.
can show the sound is coming on the screen. Is this working? Hi, sir. Can you please fill the sample, the step water? Definitely. Drink. Drinking water. It's cold.
Slides got added.
That's cool.
Maybe this come more.
Okay, great, thank you. And as I said before, we can have a look at the brain-body gym a little bit later. We're going to go over to Nav. Now, I know Nav has a couple of slides to share as well. As I mentioned before, Nav is on a bit of a journey to explore meta skills and the skills for the future of work. So a little bit of a presentation on that, and then we'll go into our panel discussion.
Oh, it works. All right. Thanks, Anna. Humans, if you want to find something in common with each other, we can. So Anna said she's half Italian and half Finnish. Do you see any connection with me? There is actually. No, don't look like that. But yes, a few years ago I did a DNA test, and of course I'm of Indian origin, and that's where I am. But I'm 3.75% Finnish. I'm not kidding. And Finnish, somehow people are a very good friend of mine. So one of my colleagues, he's Finnish, he jokes. Maybe my great-great-great-grandfather was traveling towards this side at one point in time. Yeah, so I'll be talking on future of work. I started to work on idea of meta skills. What are the skills of the future? And that started from how do we learn, metacognition, meta learning. And I decided to work on skills because that's where rubber meets the road. And while doing that, this topic of future of work kind of started to come up because we use skills to do something. This is me. If I am self-conceited, I'll say, follow me. But I have been, I started with this company called IDActio for around 12 years, since 2012. And this year I started the School of Meta Skills. School of Meta Skills and also a community called Future Skills Network. But today, let's start with, why do we work actually? Can somebody say anything? You don't know?
To live.
To live. What else?
And money.
Pay the bills, yeah. So most of us, I get these kind of answers. Why we work has a very deep connection with us being human. And I'll just come to that very, very quickly. So what does it mean to be human? That is first thing that we need to. So can I request you, all of you, just close your eyes for 10 seconds and think, what does it mean to be human? All right. Now, do we have answer?
Yeah.
What does it mean to be human?
Being nice to each other.
Being nice to each other. And why?
To avoid people like Trump coming at
He's there already. And he said, good one. And he said, to share. Why do you share?
Yeah, being alone is just alone. It's horrible.
Okay.
Share everything we have.
Very good. In a positive thing, yeah. So human beings, we are social animals and we come together to do stuff, yeah. And that has, in a way, genesis in why we work as well. So there are three things, and this is, in a way, a bit of Maslow's hierarchy. You can just kind of visualize that. There are three things that, or instincts that make us human. First two, they're very similar to animals. Third one is that one that makes us unique. So first one is to survive. By the way, this is my son on day one. So first one, we have to survive. You know, amoebas and all, you have to replicate a DNA. So the emotion or act associated with the first instinct is procreate and eat. We need energy for that. And emotion is fear, because anytime we could be kind of decimated. Once we do that, second instinct is to sustain, which is associated with act of nurturing and caring. And the dominant emotion here is empathy. But this is very similar to what animals do as well. So what makes us human? That we can imagine stuff. We can imagine constructs. And then we can come together, work together, as you said, share, collaborate, and create new stuff. And emotion, in a way, if we can call it so, we look for meaning. And this we have done, imagination, for example, we can imagine to go to Mars. Or we can imagine what money looks like. Now, I don't go to NTUC Fair Price with my goat, can take the goat and give me groceries. We have some papers and coins and now some bits and bytes. We say, see, this is money. So we have imagined that. And NTUC guy agrees that, that's fine. I'll give you groceries, not a goat. So what is work? So work is essentially coming together to do something. So just imagine there were just like thousands of years ago, a son and a father going out to hunt or forage. They were working. Then as a clan, they went out. They were working. To do what? To find things to survive. And then at a certain point in time, they started to go out with tools, stone tools. So then somebody started to make tools. There was division of labor. So work became more complex. Then the tools became more complex. Now it is not just stone, but stone with wood. and then iron, then more division of labor. Some people were doing iron works, some people were doing woodwork, some people were doing stone works, and other people were hunting, and others were eating, and some were reproducing. But what we were doing, we created this division of labor, and that's why the work kept on becoming more and more complex. And today we are sitting here, we are trying to do something actually, like with these fancy tools, but essentially we are still coming together to do something. So that led me to think, what could be the definition of work? Work is intentional collaboration to execute a certain task, to achieve a certain goal in pursuit of a certain vision. And this was true thousands of years ago. This is true now. So I wanted to take you to the very basic of why we work. We work because we are driven by this instinct to imagine and then to collaborate and create something new. And collaboration essentially is work. And all this we do, somebody said, like, to pay the bills. Yes, we still work to pay the bills. We still work to kind of sustain. And we still work to accomplish these imagined constructs. For example, country is a construct. We are sitting in this talk is a construct, and we are coming together to do something. And through this whole journey, technology has been very much like symbiotic part of it. So as human beings, we are not without technology, and technology is not without us. That's what made us dominate this whole planet, because if you see cats and dogs, this is how they eat, this is how they drink, but we drink with a glass, with a bottle. Why? We learned how to harness these tools and technologies. And we use this imagination, as I was saying earlier, and brought it with technology. For example, if somebody had a skill just to chisel this, and not the imagination to build a card out of it, this won't work. And we have done that. So question becomes what it means to be human. We need to understand what has been the human-machine relationship and what is the future of human-machine relationship. So far, till very recently, advent of AI now for past two and a half years, we had used this machine to augment our muscle power. But suddenly, we are using it to augment our brain power. Yeah, we are creating shared minds, extended minds. But the problem is, in some time from now, in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, this mind will become much more smarter than us. So we were able to dominate other species because we were smarter than them. We were more intelligent than them. That's why we have lions in the zoo and we have dogs as our pets. What happens if this species, AI, becomes more intelligent than us? Just imagine, we won't be able to even understand it. For example, if I tell you that you know just 2 dimensions, you can understand a square. But you don't know the 3rd dimension, you won't be able to understand a cuboid. Just imagine if AI knows 10 other dimensions which we don't even know. They will control us. AI will. So it'll more intelligent, it can decide by itself. So that's why it is different. And I was just trying to do a bit of a thought experiment. This is not kind of exhaustive, but if you compare other species, human species and alien species, which is AI, so reproduce, it cannot. We can. Conscious, like not yet, but it might become conscious, we don't know. Conscious means feels pain, pleasures, emotions, so on and so forth. Intuition, maybe, I don't know yet. Intelligence, they're surely more intelligent than us. And dexterity, still not yet there. So for example, so this is, we have edge over here, these are close calls, and this is where machine has edge. So this was a video I just found today on LinkedIn. So if this level of dexterity comes, we have a problem. Let me drink water while you watch this video a bit. It's quite funny, actually. This is doing a lot of stuff later, but let me go further. So what could happen in future is, that depends on what kind of choices we make today. So that's why judgment becomes a very critical human skill. What kind of AI we build? How do we use AI? Depending on that, we could have these 2 extreme scenarios. One is what Anna was saying, that like we want to live till 90, 100, and so forth. So we could become immortal, perhaps, if we can put our consciousness somewhere in a machine. Or dystopia, that Terminator kind of a thing, somebody comes and kills us all. But there is a dystopia within dystopia. I say that AI could either annihilate us or enslave us. That depends how useful we are to AI. Because AI needs these computer farms and computers to run. They need somebody to maintain those farms. So in that case, they will enslave us like the way we have cats, dogs, and lions in zoo, for example. We'll do as they do, like Matrix kind of a thing. Annihilate, if AI is able to find ways in which information could be stored like Avatar, through trees and through organic matter, and they could be able to digitally reproduce them. They don't need humans then. So they will annihilate us at one point in time. Maybe this is a far off scenario, 200 years down the line, but we have to see what do we need to worry now in next 5 years, 10 years. So I think we need to worry that there will be loss of jobs because AI, as Marco was saying earlier, AI is co-pilot, but some jobs it might just take all the way, like creative jobs are going away as well. Then we'll have this loss of worth or meaning, and there could be like change in systems and so forth. And so in this world, the problem will not be, in a way, as such, this utopia, dystopia. But problem will be, because if you see in industrial age, as productivity in machines increased, jobs and wages increased. But what is happening now is wages and jobs will decrease with increase in technology and productivity. So we have to see what are the new kinds of jobs we should create. When Emmy asks, are you doing something that you studied in school? For example, I'm not. And in future, whatever you study now will become obsolete 1 week from now, 1 year from now, and so on and so forth, depending what you're studying. So we need to understand what we should do. We need to understand our relationship with technology. Technology is more task-driven, efficiency. As I said, it is intelligent. But we are conscious, we are emotion-driven, we are driven by... So we need to focus on that. As Harari says, whatever money we are putting in this, if you're putting $1 in technology, we should put $1 in human development. And we have to use our imagination, but not just imagination, we have to this element of compassion and love to it as well. So in future, what could be the jobs? So this is kind of a visualization in a way. There will be people who will be making AI. They're like Sam Altmans of the world, or people sitting in Microsoft and Google's, but there'll be very few. So there will also be philosophers because they have to, what is the ethical AI? There will be jobs in there as well. But most of the jobs will be people serving people. People serving people directly, people serving people using technology, people serving people using humanoids. Elon Musk says there will be in 25 years, same number of humanoids as there are humans or maybe more. So this is what we have to see, what kind of jobs we should create. So when machines can do everything that we can do, what would it mean to be human? So I feel power of human mind is not about power of intelligence. It is about power of compassion and purpose. So we have to see what choices we make today, because we will be what choices we make today. That's why judgment becomes a very, very important meta skill, as I said. What kind of AI we create, how we use it. And what could future look like? I would end with this slide. And what could future look like will determine what kind of future work we. So we have to ask ourselves these questions. What kind of jobs will be there in the future? Means what are needs we need to fulfill? Are they emotional needs? Because most of the efficiency stuff is done by machines, for example. And then what kinds of ways of working together? Because working together, organizations are nothing but models of collaboration. What kind of ways of working with this organization model where you get employees come to office and you pay them salary? Will that be the model or something else? We need to also imagine what kind of skills we'll need, because the collaboration models are changing. So skills will also change. What kind of skills we need as humans? Technical skills, functional skills, I don't know. And then what kind of technology we'll need, which will augment our skills? Like as Microsoft says, what do we need technology as a co-pilot, or do we need technology as a colleague or caregiver? And then eventually what kind of services will be there for the future for humans? And at the intersection of it, we'll create the future. And we need to understand what are the information networks in all this, and what are the relationships between this. Thank you very much.
I'll never forget perfect timing. A few years ago, I had Nav on a panel, and I wasn't expecting what Nav can do. He's a very creative visual person, and he got up off the panel and asked for a flipboard, and then just started drawing his frameworks. Amazing brain, amazing person. Please ask him difficult questions because he's great on the spot as well. So I might just quickly, there was a presentation that I was giving earlier. I am going to blitz through this because you've probably presentationed out and you want to get into the Q&A. So I'm just going to quickly absolutely smash through this in true Aussie style. If I could have the little clicker, that'd be great. Okay, so a couple of things. Why are we here? There's been a lot that has happened. Okay, so 2014, we first started talking about the fourth industrial revolution, the fact that things were going to change in the way of working. In 2016, Klaus Schwab presented at the World Economic Forum about the topic and how to prepare for a future around AI. We had a lot of distractions in the way. We had NFTs and all that kind of stuff. Notice how that's all disappeared, right? And now ChatGPT was launched in 2022. I want to show you this image because I think this is a really important piece and it describes a lot of the work that I do. So you will see on the left-hand side of this screen, this is an IBM 5 megabyte hard drive being loaded onto a plane in 1956. My mum was born in 1954. She just celebrated her 70th birthday not that long ago, right? That was how you would carry 5 megabytes. Now, who has a smartphone in their pocket? How many gigabytes is that? Giving away how much money you spend on your phone? Right, so it's huge, right? We all have that in our pocket, and that's crazy, and that was only 70 years ago. However, if you look at the organizational structure of IBM in 1917, so much before that time, it has not really changed. So the point that we're trying to make here is that technology is very different, and it's advancing, but the way that we work hasn't really kept up with it all. And that's why we exist. Anybody know what this is? Yeah, it's a filing cabinet. I know for the younger people in the room, like myself, I was like, I don't know what that is. No, my mum used to have one of these in her office, right? She used to have a little briefcase. She used to lock this at the end of the day, and she used to put the files that were really important into her briefcase, and she'd bring them home. She'd put them on the dining table, and then she'd lock them back up into her briefcase. And then she put them in the filing cabinet. What do we have today that has replaced this? iCloud, SharePoint, Teams, Drive, Box, all of these ways, the cloud, everybody, right? And this has changed, and particularly from a real estate perspective, this has changed how we design workspaces, because no longer do we need to factor in these huge, cumbersome places where we store large amounts of data's right, of paper. Right? So a lot has changed. I want to show you something really funny that I often present, which is a declassified now sabotage manual from the CIA. This you can find on Google, and you can read the whole thing. Why this is interesting is because there are parts of this. The whole point of this manual was to actually slow down businesses at a time when they were trying to slow down whole economies, right? And you're probably reading some of these things on the page and going, oh my God, that's my boss right now, right? Yeah? So please take photos, send this to your boss, tell them that they're reading straight out of the CIA sabotage manual, because that'll definitely make their Friday. But what's funny is that we still work in these ways. And so we are, in a lot of ways, we're designing our organizations for a time that no longer exists. Technology has advanced so much. But we're also sabotaging ourselves in the way that we work. Okay, end of jobs and rise of skills. I think we've covered a lot of this with Nav. This is a chart that basically tells you how much cognitive work is becoming part of our world. Our world of work is all in the brain. And this brings us to the point around why JLL are interested in this, okay? Because we know that work is increasingly about learning, creativity, and innovation, and we need to be able to use our brains to do those things. So we need to design workplaces around brains. I'm going to skip over some of the research. Ben's going to kill me. So it's more about, it's less about where you work, and it's more about how you work and how you get that work done in the most optimum and best way. I'm not going to give you a bit of a sales pitch, but JLL a couple of years ago started putting brain reading devices onto people, including our CEO. This is actually our CEO for APAC. And he does have brain readings, by the way. We can confirm. It doesn't tell us any other information apart from that the brain is working. Okay, so what we understand now is how people respond to different environments. And that sparked our interest, right? So a couple of things that we found was that being together boosts engagement. We also found that focused work is done better when you're around other people. So this idea of staying at home to check your emails or to write a report is actually something that our data disproved. And the biggest boost was obviously in individual focused work. So I'm going to skip through some of the stats. We're now really interested in high performance. We're not pushing anybody out of hot air balloons from the edge of space yet. Maybe next year, not sure. But the guy that's on the left of this screen, his name's Andy Walsh. He comes from Red Bull, and he is interested in high performance. He's a human factors coach. He's working with us to help us understand how we can get the best out of people in any given space. And we're now interested in looking at creativity as a way of getting people to think better. I'm going to stop there because I think we need to just go into our discussion.